All right, welcome to Tech Tuesday for March. Today we're going to look at Microsoft MakeCode and the resources that you have available there. And I am just blown away by MakeCode because I just did a microbit training, and I dabbled with MakeCode a little bit before, but the microbit training was so much fun. And so I will look at all of those different options. So you have resources. Everybody has access to the resources. They are at bit.ly/techmakecode, all one word. And so if you want to follow along, you can do that. And so you can just watch the screen. Um, Basically, Microsoft MakeCode is a freely available open source coding platform. And when we click up on their about, they go through and kind of talk about what is in their platform. And so one of the really cool things is they have an interactive simulator. And so when we create a program, you can actually see it run in the simulator window. And so that's awesome because so many times you aren't able to see how the program actually runs or what it's supposed to do. So you have the simulator, and then there's two different editors. There's a block editor, and there's also the JavaScript editor. And so you have options, and if you see in the window here, you can actually switch back and forth, which is really great. And so when we're on their About page, they do have a number of example videos, and they're a little long, and so I'm not going to delve into them today. But you do have some project ideas where they give us the air guitar is a project with the microbit, the rock, paper, scissors is a microbit project, the Circuit Playground Express is another project for the magic wand, and Circuit Playground also does the light monster. So that's kind of the big deal is it's available, it's online, and you can do it all in a browser. And so that is, you don't have to download anything to program, so you don't have to download any programs. And you can use Chrome, you can use Macs, you can use pretty much any platform you want to be able to do this. And so that's been also really powerful. So when we are looking at Microsoft MakeCode, you'll notice when we go back to the MakeCode page, that there are all these different icons. And so they have all these different platforms that you can use. And what's great is they have done a really nice job of providing us with tutorials and resources. And so I did go through and link a number of them. And so we'll do a real quick overview of what they are and what your options are. So the first one on their page is the microbit. I don't know if you guys are really familiar with the microbit or not, but the microbit is the cutest little microcomputer that costs about $15. And so if that's not enough, it originated out of the UK. The BBC gave it to all 7th year students for free. And so it's very, it's something that was available over there. And so you'll notice when you click on it, you get a lot of, here are all the programs that I've dabbled in here. Obviously, I do not do a good job of naming them. And you have a lot of tutorials here. And so I can go through, and the tutorials are great because if I click on Start Tutorial, it is going to guide me through this project, and I can do all the coding in my browser. And like I said before, the simulator will show what we want to build. So I'm going to, so here's the simulator, and I'm going to pop us back over to my original. We're going to exit this tutorial, and I'll pop you into my flashing heart that I made a month or so ago so you can see what that looks like. Maybe not. Maybe that's not one that I've done. So welcome, Nicole. So anyways, so these are, when you make a program, once you're all done with that, let's see, we'll go back in real quick and pull up one of my programs. I do a lot of demos and they're all named the same, which is bad. Here we go. So here is one that it's got a couple of LEDs and it's flashing. And so this is as simple as the program gets. And it is running forever. And so it's just over here blinking. And you can see if I wanted to, I can download that by clicking the download button and plugging the microbit into my computer through the USB port and transferring it to the microbit. But at the same time, I can also just watch it here in on the simulator. So that's really awesome. A couple of other things, resources that I've added onto the page, they have a number of lessons. And so when you're looking at their documentation, they've done a really great job of pulling together lessons. And so if you wanted to find some beginner lessons, they guide you through the beginner, the intermediate, and then finally you have some advanced, some science. And you'll also notice on the left-hand side of the page, they have reference. So if you want to kind of become familiar with how the blocks, what the blocks mean and what the blocks look like, you can actually go in and investigate what the blocks are and how they're organized. You will find that when you're using Microbit or MakeCode, that their structure is really linear, and so it doesn't always align with other code programs, and so you may have to think about that a little bit. They also have some great examples if you want to go in and look at the examples. They also have my favorites. They have a intro course, and so you can actually go in and they have a 14-week introduction to computer science that utilizes the microbit. And as you can see, you can download this course if you want to, or you can just use it online. And they give you all the entire course structure there. They also give you some curriculum connections, which are great. And then finally, in their resources, they have all of these courses. So they have the Intro to CS Classroom and Intro to CS Online. And then they also have like science experiments, learn about the microbit. So these are all resources that MakeCode has built in and uses that MakeCode platform. One of the other resources that's in there is the Circuit Playground Express. And so for those of you guys that are using code.org, the computer science discoveries, Unit 6 is where they use the Circuit Playground Express. And so when we check that out, they have some really great documentation, and so you can go in and see how the blocks are structured, different examples of using the Circuit Playground Express, but then you can also go through the Maker course. And so this is one of the things that I appreciate, is that you have an actual course to kind of guide you through to either expand on resources that you're using, or else utilize resources, use it as an entire curriculum. Some of the other resources that are linked on the page is Minecraft. And so they actually have a course, an introduction to computer science with MakeCode for Minecraft. And so that will actually, it's a semester-long course. It's targeted for middle school. And they utilize Minecraft to go through all that. And so this is so fun. When you're on the MakeCode page, you can go in and check out the different resources there. And let's see if we can just home again. Maybe not. Take us back home. So when we're looking at the Minecraft resources, I just love that you have access to, I mean, my projects will all be here, but then I have all these tutorials that I can go through. And then we have, if we scroll on down, you actually have videos, and so you can guide yourself through a tour of MakeCode. They have a number of different videos here too. So I really like that they've added this education component to MakeCode, and you can use that. In addition to the course, they also have given you some documentation. And here again, that's going to give you tutorials. It's going to give you learning more about the coding. And so if you want to go in and figure out how the blocks work in Minecraft on MakeCode, you can do that. And so it's going to give you that information. And so this too can be really beneficial because it looks a little differently than what we saw in the like the microbit course or microbit content. Then this one I'm super excited about because it's brand new. On their page they say it's beta, and so I had to look up and say, what is Microsoft MakeCode Arcade? And what it is it's a beginner-friendly code editor to create retro arcade games. And so I am so excited about that. And it just came out this year, so it's brand new. And if you go onto the MakeCode site for arcade, it pops up and you have all these tutorials and block games, JavaScript games, concepts, and then there's some lessons. And so they do give a few hardware examples that you can utilize with it, but you also can just play it in the simulator. And so I was just so excited because gaming is a really engaging way to teach programming concepts. And so being able to teach those retro games. One of the other resources is the Chibi chip, and I had to look that one up too because I wasn't 100% sure what that one was. And the Chibi chip is a little bit more money than the microbit. You're looking at that you have the interest in coding and you don't know where to start. This one it's just a little system that allows you to program lights and turn lights on and off. And so very simple, very similar to a lot of the other resources that we're looking at, but just a little bit different there. And so that one, there again, you also have a couple tutorials, you have some examples that you can run through. So a nice little platform. A lot of us use Mindstorms with our students, and you can actually program Mindstorms on MakeCode also. And so that's been a really exciting addition also. And so they guide you through getting started. They have tutorials, design engineering, the coding, maker, and then also videos. And so they've been really consistent to add those videos. And then one of the other brand new ones is Q. And Q is the app that we know and love from Wonder Workshop. And so I'm going to have to share a different screen here real quick. Let's see. Maybe I will share my whole screen and then we'll do that way. So you do need to download an app, but you will be able to program, and I don't have a Q with me today, so I'm not able to fully model it, but you are able to program with drag and drop blocks or JavaScript, just like what we do in MakeCode. And so you download this and go. And so we can do this on our Windows 10 computers, which is great. You can also do this on your tablets too, so that's kind of nice. But so this is looks very similar to the MakeCode platform. It's just it's an app that I had to download. And so we'll look at that real quick on the MakeCode site here too. So if I click on Start Coding with Q here, it just takes me over to the Wonder Workshop and it tells me that I can code through any of these. So Chromebook, Windows 10, Google Play, or the Apple Store. So yeah, so those are some of the options that you have with Microsoft MakeCode. Like I said, the biggest thing with MakeCode is it's open source, and so you have free access to all of this, and the interactive component, being able to program freely on in your browser. It is, so like if you go in and you look at the microbit blocks, you will notice how they're organized here on the blocks, that you have your basic blocks, your inputs, your music, your logic. But then once we start going down into advanced, you can, for like the microbit, get an adapter to be able to plug in and utilize all of these pins here. And so if you do that, you can really change your pins and have different pins come. And so we have, oops, up to 20 pins that we can select from there. And so when you're looking at that, it really gives you a lot more options there. You also have the serial port. You can do control blocks, and even more. And so there's just a lot of things here that as you're rolling through these, making sure you've played with the tutorials, you've worked through those, they can really be valuable to developing your program. A couple of other things, I do really appreciate that you can share. And so I can publish a project and then I can share that. And so in terms of like student assignments, sharing resources, you can share this assignment so they can turn this in and you could actually view it that way. So you do have that option. So I'm not going to name that project. We're just going to call it untitled again and carry on. So those are kind of that's the really high level options there. I I have really enjoyed doing a lot of the microbit lessons because as you go through them, you learn the coding, and then you also you just have that physical computing and the I created this, I've turned on this counter, I've turned on this LED. My favorite, I think, is the rock, paper, scissors. That's one of my favorites, just because when you go through and create that one, you have a lot of really fun. It's just it uses the motion sensors and it uses all of the tools. But then you can also utilize some of the other options. If we scroll on through, like these will use like duct tape, and so you're using makerspace concepts. The air guitar, this one is a lot of fun because it actually utilizes the MakeCode, the microbit controllers to do the sound. And so let's see if we can make it play. So kind of squeaky, but lots of a good challenge there. So that in a nutshell is Microsoft MakeCode. It's an easy way to introduce computational thinking and all of that into your classroom and have all of those resources. And you don't necessarily need to have the microbit or the Circuit Playground Express to utilize them. And a number of the schools that I've worked with have just had like a couple microbits, and the kids can all program and then just pass the microbit around. And so it's a good way to do that. So do you guys have any questions about anything that we've talked about today?
Not a question, but just a comment. The session I went in yesterday, we talked about microbit and we played a little bit around with it. And we used block as we were working on it, which once I got used to where everything was, it's very, very easy to use. They were also in another room, they were using Python
Okay.
to work with it. So it's interesting.
It is really interesting, the options. The microbit is very flexible for what you can do with the microbit. So And MakeCode actually has a lot of functionality just because you have access to all of the different devices, and that simulator online is really powerful, especially if you're trying to get something to work and being able to test that out. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Our next Tech Tuesday is going to be the first Tuesday in April, and it's going to be about Microsoft meetings, I believe. So hope that you can join us then.